Hi there, this is Datila with Rangers of Wrestling, bringing you the Just in Time push. And for tonight, I'll be reviewing AEW Dynamite. Alright, so let's start off with talking about CM Punk versus Jon Moxley, the AEW World Championship Unification match. I think this is the one match that a lot of people were looking forward to and were talking about. I was pretty shocked to find out that this was not the main event. And when it wasn't announced as a main event, I knew something was gonna go down. Something had to have gone down that made this not be the main event. This was a glorified squash match. I mean, Jon Moxley decimated CM Punk in a matter of minutes. This didn't even take I don't even think it took 5 minutes. Now, CM Punk threw a kick to Jon Moxley, and he was grabbing his injured foot. As you guys know, his foot was injured, and Jon Moxley beat him. And wow, I was personally shocked by that because I was not expecting that. I was expecting this match to probably end in a draw, or this match to end in some type of DQ, just something. Talk about bad booking for that match. This was Tony Khan punishing Punk after the comments he made about Hangman last week. And I think when Punk comes back, he's going to heel. Yeah, definitely. I do think CM Punk is going to go heel because he turned and he looked back. So that kind of tells me that he might turn heel unless he's going to take his ball and go home. Now, there were reports, according to Figure 4, the Wrestling Observer, CM Punk calling out Hangman on Dynamite last week was not planned. It was not planned. He totally went off script. So I could definitely maybe see that this match sucked. Yeah, I could see this being Punk's punishment. I mean, this match had so much hype around it. So much hype. And you give us that? I don't even know. I don't know what to think. But apparently, there was more to it. So Fightful Select reported that Jon Moxley was in favor of moving the match, and one source even indicated that it was his idea and pitch, and AEW went with it. That same source also said that eventually CM Punk agreed to it. They haven't learned if this was connected to any of the reported issues with CM Punk last week. Graspy's Will Washington noted on air that he had heard there was an idea in play a few days before to increase ticket sales and add buzz to the Cleveland AEW show. So I am just beyond belief that this happened. I don't know what to believe anymore. But apparently CM Punk did address him going off script. He was interviewed by Sports Illustrated where he talked about it. And he basically said that if you addressed every rumor, he'd be here all day. He says he loves AEW. It's not a competition of who loves it more, who's at heart and soul, who's this and who's that. AEW allowed me a second chance to do what I do best, and that's professional wrestler. Oh, but when it came to addressing the reports that he went off script, he says, that's what I'm here to do. Make people want to see what happens next. Punk said, I'm trying to sell tickets to a live event. That goes back to me saying Twitter isn't the real world. Twitter is a bunch of people that don't really care about your opinion. They want to find like-minded opinions that share their world of you. I'm trying to tell stories, sell tickets, and get people to tune into Dynamite. Well, he did get a lot of people talking with that. No way, I believe that Punk approved of this. Mic is cracking. Oh, it is? Again? Okay, let me change the audio. How about now? Am I cracking now? Let me know. But there you have it. This is crazy. It's but we still don't know what the all-out match is. We still don't know. So is it gonna be I don't think it's gonna be a rematch. Are we gonna run MJF and Jon Moxley back 2 years and have MJF versus Jon Moxley at All Out? I don't know. What do you guys think the All Out? What do you guys think the All Out match is? Let me know, please, because I'm very curious to hear what you guys think. What the All Out match is. Next week is the Go Home show, and we don't even have. I don't think the card is set yet. But with that being said, let's start the show from the beginning. So the Dynamite tonight opened up with Chris Jericho. Let me see. It's not MJF. MJF, I think, will be appearing at Grand Slam because it's in New York and he's from there. But isn't he from Long Island? All right, so Chris Jericho and Daniel Garcia came face to face. And Jericho is saying that there was an issue between him and his favorite member of Jericho Appreciation Society, and he wants to try to be civil. He talks about how Daniel Garcia had a match with Bryan Danielson and slayed the dragon. And he goes on to say that Daniel was probably disappointed because he lost the match and wants an apology. Yeah, LI in New York. Yeah, I know, but Grand Slam is in Queens, New York. I'm saying, like, MJF is from the LI. So Daniel Garcia comes out and he basically tells Jericho that he knew how special that moment was to not only share the ring with his hero Bryan Danielson, but to go 30 minutes for his hero. He hung with 30 minutes with the best in the world. He said that he dreamt of having matches like that, and he wants his cousin, his nephew, and some random kids to feel that same way that he felt. And he says he doesn't care if people call him a wrestler or a sports entertainer. All he cared about was the moment, and Jericho ruined it for him. Then Jericho basically tells him how there's going to be plenty of moments like that. And of course, since this whole thing was about Bryan Danielson, he came out and Chris Jericho was basically trying to force Daniel Garcia to say he's a sports entertainer. But Bryan says that Jericho was trying to bully Daniel Garcia into saying he's a sports entertainer, and that he thinks he can be whatever he wants, and he respects him wrestling last week and agrees that Daniel Garcia is a wrestler because the crowd started chanting, "You are a wrestler." And just for the record, I do think Daniel Garcia is a wrestler. I don't think he's a sports entertainer. What do you guys think? Do you guys think he's a wrestler or a sports entertainer? And then you feel like the pressure that Daniel Garcia is under. He doesn't want to make a decision in public. Now, his hero's in the ring and he just shoves Chris Jericho. And Bryan, he says he's not the biggest fan of sports entertainment, but he admits that was pretty entertaining. And he asks Chris Jericho a question. Who Stu Hart thought would be the better wrestler? Lionheart Chris Jericho or American Dragon Bryan Danielson? So who do you guys think is the better wrestler? The American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, or Lionheart Chris Jericho? Daniel Garcia was a babyface here, but it was an awesome segment. Yeah, he was. And of course, Jake Hager attacks Bryan, and Jericho ends that he choked out Bryan, and he was out for 2 months. And so at All Out, it's going to be Chris Jericho versus Bryan Danielson, or I should say Lionheart Chris Jericho versus the American Dragon Bryan Danielson, which I cannot wait for. It's going to be an incredible match. Awesome. I really love that promo. Like, Daniel Garcia, he played his role really well, and he was a babyface. And I honestly see him switching sides. I think he might join Blackpool Combat Club and align himself with his hero, Bryan Danielson. So next we had Dax again. Oh my god. We had... How about now? Next we had Dax Harwood versus Jay Lethal. This match was incredible. And it's so funny how, like, both men use different styles of the people that they looked up to. Jay Lethal obviously looked up to Ric Flair. He attempted the figure 4 leg lock in this match. Dax Harwood looked up to Bret Hart. He used the sharpshooter in this match. So I really thought that was incredible. I felt like both men were evenly matched at the beginning. But of course, Jay Lethal pulling a page out of Ric Flair's handbook and being the dirtiest player in the game by grabbing a handful of tights, allowing him to be victorious in this match. And not only that, but of course, Sanjay Dutt had to cause a distraction, allowing Jay Lethal to get that victory. Awesome match. Definitely was. So, noticeably absent was Santan Sin. He was not at ringside. He didn't come out. And we also find out that the trios match at All Out, and that's going to be the Wardlow and FTR versus Jay Lethal and the Motor City Machine Guns. We all thought it was going to be Jay Lethal versus and Sanjay Dutt and Santan Sin versus FTR and Wardlow. But that's not happening. I'm actually pretty excited because FTR versus Motor City Machine Guns is a dream match of mine. So it's nice to be able to see that. But Motor City Machine Guns are currently signed to Impact Wrestling. They actually have Kushida with them in Impact, and they're known as Time Machine. So I cannot wait. I think it'll be a really good match. But I wonder why they changed the card. Like, I wonder why it's not Sanjay Dutt and Satan Singh against Wardlow and FTR. Like, it makes me wonder what happened behind the scenes. Is Satan Singh not ready? Is he not ready? So I wonder about that. Then we had a quick, of course, hey, the Motor City Machine Guns are fantastic. You take that back right now. So then we had a quick Thunder Rosa segment, and she was all teary and crying, saying that she has to step out as women's champion. And at all that, we're going to crown an interim champion. It's going to be Hikaru Shida versus Dr. Britt Baker, D.M.D. versus Toni Storm versus Jamie Hayter. The winner will be the new interim women's champion. Now, I haven't heard anything about Thunder Rosa being injured. I don't know if this is legit, if this is kayfabe. I'm not entirely sure. I checked all my usual sources: Fightful, Wrestling Observer, PWI Insider, and I haven't heard anything yet about if Thunder Rosa is actually legit injured or if this is just kayfabe. But if it is kayfabe, I can't believe Tony Khan would. I can't believe that they would do that. You get an interim title and you get an interim title. Everyone gets an interim title. What does that Oprah mean? You get a title and you get a title and you get a title. So yeah, but definitely if I do hear something, I'll definitely let you guys know at the next stream for AEW. So we get the first ever father versus son match as Colt Gunn versus Billy Gunn. And I like that the Acclaim comes out with Billy Gunn. And Austin takes out the Acclaimed on the outside, distracting the ref, while Colt gives his own dad a low blow. And so Colton Gunn is victorious, and they accept Stokely's offer. And then Swerve and Our Glory come out and aid Billy Gunn. So I wonder how Billy Gunn's gonna feel. His own son gave him a low blow. So then we had Dr. Britt Baker, D.M.D. versus KiLynn King. This match I felt like was pretty much Britt's match. She obviously won by submission after the lockjaw. This match was terrible. Why is this even on the show? It should have been on Dark. And then she cuts a promo. She basically talks about how it's a shame about Thunder Rosa. And that she makes the point that she wrestled with a broken wrist or a broken freaking wrist, top it off, throughout her entire reign. And then Toni Storm comes out. She gets attacked by Jamie Hayter. And then Hikaru Shida comes out to aid Toni Storm. So Swerve and Our Glory backstage, and they talk about how the Acclaim make worthy opponents, and they didn't save them because they love them. And so at all out, we're gonna get the Acclaimed versus Swerve and Our Glory. And then after this came the AEW World Championship Unification match, Jon Moxley versus CM Punk. I already talked about this in the beginning, but I will be more than happy to talk about it again, just to kind of recap very, very quickly. This was pretty much a squash match. Jon Moxley squashed CM Punk in a matter of minutes. There's no going around, no ands or buts about it. He squashed him. And according to Fightful Select, it was Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley was in favor of the move, and one source even indicated that it was his idea and pitch, and AEW went with it. Will Washington noted on air that he heard that there was an idea in play a few days before to increase ticket sales and add buzz to the Cleveland AEW show. The same source also said that eventually CM Punk agreed to it, and they haven't learned if this is connected to any of the reported issues with CM Punk last week. So I don't know why this was a squash match. It could be used to turn CM Punk heel. Maybe CM Punk is taking his ball and going home. There were reports that he went off the script last week when he called out Hangman Adam Page. So who knows? But what do you guys think? How did you guys feel about Jon Moxley versus squashing CM Punk so quickly? I mean, this was probably the most anticipated match on tonight's card. And when this was in main eventing, I knew something was up. I told myself this is either going to be a draw, DQ is going to come out, it's going to be a DQ, someone's going to come out and cost it. I was not expecting Jon Moxley to squash CM Punk the way that he did. He pretty much just clobbered him. And then we get a backstage segment with Christian Cage, who basically says that he accepts Jungle Boy Challenge even with one arm. Now, Ricky Starks cuts a promo in the ring. He's basically talking about why he hasn't been in the best mood because he's hurt and he's pissed off. He's pissed off about the fact that Team Taz is over, his Hobbs betraying him, he's dealing with the factory. He thought he had a friend in Powerhouse Hobbs. He makes note that Hobbs was playing Britt security guard, and that if it wasn't for him, so he says where he comes from, he cuts the heads off snakes. Where I come from, snitches get stitches. And he tells him to bring your $5 ass to Chicago and fight him at All Out. So at All Out, it's going to be Hobbs versus Ricky Starks. So who do you guys think is going to win that bout? So then we get a very passionate Jon Moxley promo. And he says, best in the world, my ass. He says that he talks about people who were surprised Starks is winning. Yeah, probably. Who are the ones who wrote him off, are the ones who called him interim champion, are the ones who wanted to write his obituary. So a lot of people were calling Jon Moxley the interim champion. I mean, technically he was. And they were saying pretty much that he wasn't the real champion. CM Punk was. So hence why he said that. He says that those people don't matter. He says the answer to any problem is always Jon Moxley. He says there's only one Jon Moxley. He says that no one can do what he can do. He is a professional wrestler. He's not just some guy. He's the guy in the industry. He doesn't follow any rules. And his time is now. Goddamn now. I don't know about you, but that last line about his time being now kind of reminded me of John Cena in a way. You know how John Cena used to say, your time is up, my time is now. Kind of reminded me of John Cena. I don't know if that was intentional. I don't think so. But yeah, it just reminded me of John Cena. But very good promo by Jon Moxley. I still want to know what the hell the All Out match is. Next week is a go home show and we don't have the answer for it yet. I think we'll probably get a much clearer picture next week on Dynamite. So the main event was the AEW World Trios Tag Team Quarterfinals match. It was Will Ospreay and Aussie Open versus Death Triangle. I have to say, this match was amazing. This was really amazing. So Phoenix and Will Ospreay have great chemistry. I mean, that little moveset that they did at the beginning was phenomenal. I really like the fact that Phoenix tried to shake Will Ospreay's hand, but Will Ospreay just rebuffed him. And then at one point, all 6 men went at it. Oh my god, I really love the fact that fantastic match this was. Now you sound like Master Yoda when you say that. You know how he talks in reverse? You can say this was a fantastic match. You're saying fantastic match this was. So kind of reminds me of Yoda. I'm not sure if you're a Star Wars fan, Michael. I like how on one side of the ring you had the Fletcher and Davis pull out Pac from the ring, and on the other side you had the Lucha Brothers pull out Will Ospreay from the ring. That Hurricanrana that Will Ospreay did to Rey Fenix and that Pac did to Aussie Open, holy smokes, that was amazing. Fantastic Hurricanrana. I really love that Canadian Destroyer that Penta did to Fletcher. It was amazing. Now, I felt like this match was a little predictable, and I'll tell you why in a bit. So, you guys know, I don't know if you guys know, but Kip Sabian has been wearing a box over his head. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with Smosh, but it kind of reminded me of their character Boxman. He's been wearing a box over his head and sitting in the crowd, and so this catches Pac's attention. Not the huge Star Wars fan, but I like the films except the 2 horrible prequels. Which ones? 1 and 2, or 2 and 3? 1 and 3, which ones? I personally don't like Attack of the Clones. That's my least favorite ones of the prequels. Well, anyway, like I was saying, so he catches Pac's attention and he takes off the mask, but it wasn't Kip Sabian. It was some random dude. And Kip Sabian attacks him from behind, as essentially taking Pac out of this match. And then Fletcher and Davis in the ring hold down Phoenix while Will Ospreay does a cutter to him, and then Will Ospreay and Aussie Open are victorious. So I kind of saw this coming. The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, really? Oh, okay. So I knew when they said that Don Callis was at commentary scouting, I kind of suspected Aussie Open and Will Ospreay would win this, because I feel like them against the Elite is a much bigger match than Death Triangle. And as always, the Elite did come out, and Ospreay, Kenny Omega was trying to go at it, but Don Callis was holding him back. So I feel like this match was a little predictable. I don't mind the predictability because it was a great match, overall great match, so I had no problem with it. Had this been a horrible match and had it been predictable, probably would have been upset. But again, great match, great way to end AEW Dynamite. Phantom Menace, Jar Jar Binks, definitely. Yeah, nobody likes Jar Jar Binks, so you're not the only one. Overall, I thought this was a decent episode of Dynamite. I really love the opening stuff. I liked Dax Harwood versus Jay Lethal. Father-son match was okay. But I think what kind of like killed it for some people was the Jon Moxley versus Bryant versus Jon Moxley versus CM Punk. I think that if that would have been a full match, I probably would have done this a much higher than I am than what I'm gonna rate it. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. I'm like a 10159. I'm also giving it a 7 out of 10. Yeah, this just was not a good Dynamite normally, but next week being the go home show to All Out, I'm hoping it's gonna be a great Dynamite. But so a couple of announcements. So that would conclude this review. So tomorrow for Impact Dynamite is Attack of the Clones. Gonna record my review for Impact. For Friday, I'm not gonna live review SmackDown and Rampage because I am gonna be at Power Morphicon. It is Power Morphicon weekend, and so I'm gonna be doing Power Morphicon all weekend long, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I'm probably just gonna record and upload my review for for Rampage and SmackDown on Saturday morning. And then the next time I'll see you guys would be live Monday after Raw, the go home show to Clash at Castle. So with that being said, thank you guys all so much for watching and for your continuous support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever I go live or release a new video. And I'll see you guys Monday after Monday Night Raw. Bye.